Welcome ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Today we are having Campus Legend 2021 Week 2 League of Legends. So I'm your host for today, Jolene Pop. Campus Legends launched in 2019 by Singapore Cyber Sports Online Gaming Association, in short SCOGA. So it's a yearly tournament. So this will be our third season because we started in 2019. So it's a platform for student gamers that represent their institutions in esports and also to discover various careers in the gaming industry. So it's a good opportunity for students to actually test water to see if they are interested or even suit the sector. With that, today we actually have Group B of the League of Legends Campus Legends with 7 institutions participating. Of course, we'll be having 6 teams that will be playing for today. So who will emerge as the top, we'll see later. Of course, if you see in the screen here, right, we have this Lenovo laptop. This laptop is Lenovo Legend 5. So it's actually the new AMD Ryzen collaboration. Of course, you can see that's very sleek here, right? Like the color and everything. I really love this laptop. I haven't really tried carrying it, but later during the break, I'll take it up and carry. Right, so for the first game, we actually have ITE College Ace versus Nanyang Poly. So from what I know, Nanyang Poly last year is actually the champion of 2020, right? So let's see, whether if they will win today's game. And of course, here's your chance to actually participate in this prediction. So we actually have giveaway today with Lenovo Legion. Can I have this? Thank you. Right, this is a keyboard and mouse bundle, KM300 of Lenovo Legion. So comment down below your predictions for the teams, all 3 games. You can predict game 1, game 2, game 3, whichever. And then we comment who you think will win, which team, and why do you think they will win, plus hashtag Legion, Legion. So at the end of the stream, we will pick a winner to walk away with this bundle. Thank you. And also, right, there's also a QR code that's showing here. This QR code here, this is a QR code for Uniqlo. So actually you can download Uniqlo's app. We are actually also giving, there's a lot of prizes that we are giving out in the stream. So we are also giving away 5 lucky winners to actually get $100 gift voucher with every download of the QR code. So all you have to do is just download, scan the QR code. I repeat, scan the QR code, DM our Instagram, Singapore Cyber Sports, with the screenshot of your download, and we will pick 5 lucky winners over the span of the whole duration to actually win the $100 gift voucher. Of course, not only do you get to win the $100 gift voucher, you also get to have a $5 voucher upon downloading, as well as an Airism mask. I mean, I'm not wearing mask now, right, because I'm alone. But you will get an Airism mask with that. Right, so without further ado, I guess you guys are tired of hearing me talk and stuff, right? So with me today, I have the casters, Raiko and Gopsy. So give it up to them.
Thank you, Jolene Pop. And now we're ready to start game 1 of ITE CE versus Nanyang Polytechnic. Gopsy, what do you think of the matchup today so far?
I think that, ITC being new to the scene, they should be able to perform something new for us. But despite them going 0-1, we should expect them to bounce back from that and bring us something new today.
Nanyang Polytechnic, however, they are the defending champions from last year, one of the tournament favorites for this year. They ran 1-0 last week against Murdoch, so they are looking to extend their lead to 2-0 to continue maintaining the top spot in the Group B, because they're expected to take the first spot of the group. So I do expect ITECE to be trying to challenge for the 1 win they need for this week. However, Nanyang Polytechnic seems to be the favorites for this game. I think it is an underdog game for ITECE.
Yeah, underdog game, especially when newer players are into the scene. And I think you said the ranks for the players should be able to contest Nanyang Poly in this game.
Yes, I think just through lading mechanics itself, most of the ITC players are relatively not of the highest caliber. But I think as a team, if ITC are able to come up with some unique strategies that we might see later in the game, I think ITC is able to pull off an upset win against Nanyang Polytechnic. There should be a chance for them to win the game. However, I think just by the odds itself, Nanyang Polytechnic the definite favorite. So as we wait for the pick and bans to start,
Pick a fight you can't win.
alright, it looks like the draft is already beginning. So look at the bans coming in. We do see Set and Z being banned out by ITCE, and on Nanyang Polytechnic side, we see the Wukong.
Yeah, I love the Z ban for IT colleges right here. It's a niche pick. You know, maybe IT colleges could bring out a certain strategy here, but with the Z ban, let's see what they can bring out. You know.
We see the Katarina ban coming out from Nanyang Polytechnic, probably on the side of ITCE. The mid laner definitely plays a lot of Katarina, more of a target ban than actually a meta ban. And we look at the champs, we see Lee Sin and Set. Those are two meta picks right now in the current patch. So those two being banned out is just ITC. You're expecting Nanyang Polytechnic players, but for Nanyang Polytechnic, they're just banning out champions where I think ITC are very proficient at. So the Wukong, Katarina, Morgana being banned, ITC banning the Lee Sin, Set, and Z. So I do want to see what they pick for ITC.
Yeah, I love the Morgana ban. No one loves to get root for more than 3 seconds. You know, once you get that Q up, and her flexibility is unparalleled.
Yeah, you see the Teemo hover for a while before looking at the Gnar. I don't like the Gnar first pick, just because ITC's strongest player is a top laner, so I do want them to actually look into a more aggressive top lane, something like the Jace, something like the Fiora, probably the Camille as well if he has it in his pocket. But it looks like they're gonna sell with the Gnar, a very safe top lane pick. They might be looking to play to the bottom side instead this game.
But then look at the side of Nanyang Poly, they have the Gwen picked. The flexibility of Gwen allows her to go top, middle, and maybe even jungle if you're courageous enough.
Oh, we see the Rengar lock-in for VC in the jungle. I think Rengar, definitely one of those very cheesy jungle, but if he's a hit, definitely can go far. But we do see one of the most favorite champions in League of Legends right now, the Yasuo.
Yep, Yasuo, you know, ITC with the Yasuo, you know, it's someone that you cannot feed early game, or else he's just gonna stomp you throughout the entire game. And an Echo, possibly in the jungle, maybe?
I think it's definitely going to be an Echo jungle. However, we might wish to see the Yasuo even go to the bottom lane. We don't know because we do remember the Yasuo Gragas meta where the bottom lane goes the Yasuo and the Gragas. But it can be even an Echo mid lane, Yasuo AD carry. There we see the Gragas support coming in. We do want to see that happen possibly, so ITC is able to shake up the draft a little bit. But looking at the picks so far, all solo lanes and jungle pick, no bottom lane yet.
Yeah. However, they do ban out the Zyra though. I think they want to target the supports that can give that knockup to that Yasuo.
Indeed, but I think there's better champions to kind of ban out. If you think of knockups, right? You think of the Alistar, the Nautilus, or even probably the Gragas as you mentioned. But it looks like they took out one of the knockout champions, which is the Alistar. So I think ITC will probably looking for the Gragas.
Yeah, it's either the Gragas or the Malphite here, you know, both of them can knock up the champions in such a way that, you know, it allows the Yasuo to get a 2-man ulti off.
I mean, if they do pick the Malphite, right, we have to ask ourselves, where will the Malphite go, right? I think lately in solo queue, there has been a rise of support Malphite, right? But I don't see it as a viable option against Nanyang Polytechnic because they just punish you in lane. So looking how NYP will actually look to take the draft here, and they're actually hovering the Tryndamere, they might actually look to lock it in because I think NYP is very confident of their laners to just down it from lane itself.
Yeah, but then once you choose these champions, where does the ADC go?
The ADC is the Kalista, as you mentioned, because I think Nanyang Polytechnic, they realize that they just want to play standard, play quick, end the game, and then call it a day for themselves, right? This is just one game that they have to play today. ITC, on the other hand, I want to see whether they'll pick any knockout champions to combo in with the Yasuo, or will they just look to pick a standard bottom lane, probably a long-range AD carry, as well as some good engage support. But they're hovering the Master E and Nico, so I think it might be the Nico support, right?
Yeah, Nico support, I love to see that really. But instead it's the Fiora, so where does the Gnar go then?
Oh, I think they're listening to the cast, bro. They're listening to say, I want to see the Fiora in the top lane, and Fiora, oh my goodness, one of my favorite champions in the league. So, very excited to see this pick coming out, especially in the game where I'm casting. I want to see how you use this champion to really pilot against the Gwen. Fiora has a very strong matchup against the Gwen. However, if the Gwen gets a lead against the Fiora, it becomes very unbearable. And ITC locks in the final pick here with the Rakan. Where's AD carry?
I think it's Yasuo. A Yasuo AD carry in Campus Legends. Let's go with that.
I think NYP is just kind of amused that they're looking to pick the Yasuo and the AD carry. It's kind of a bit of a disrespect, right? Don't you think? Because
Yeah,
when you pick the Yasuo without a knockup champion in the bottom lane, I mean Rakan has the knockup in the W, but it's not a sure guarantee lane, right? So when you pick Yasuo without a knockup champion, it's kind of very disrespectful to play in the bottom lane because there's no guaranteed knockup for the ulti. So ITC here with a very rough draft, but I think that they are able to pull it off if they are very coordinated or they have did a lot of practice with this draft. But Nanyang Polytechnic definitely has the better draft in general. I think that NYP can carry from every single lane. Kalista just strong lane in the bottom lane with Leona. Gwen just able to solo carry the top lane. Rengar jungle, if he managed to get an invade off, he's able just to pop off and impact every other lanes, and no one in ITECE is able to survive his just one-shot burst.
Yep, the Akali and Leona, I love these two combos. You see, once Leona lands that solar flare, Akali just goes in and executes all of you.
Yes, but I guess for Nanyang Polytechnic, they need to let Akali skill, right? And Akali is one of the best scaling champion because in the late game, he just does so much damage. So I want to see how NYP is able to give the Akali the time to scale up. But if they go for those very skirmish kind of playstyle that they want to, I think Akali will be skilled very early because he gets the items earlier if he gets the kills. So the more kills he gets, the faster he scales. And in general, when you play against a team that has early game bruising ability, you just want to keep going in. And I think Nanyang Polytechnic, they have the better bruising comp, right? Because the champions are able to go for those early traits. Just that for ITECE on the other hand, they want to scale a bit because when you think of Yasuo, you think of Fiora, they just take over the side lanes in the late game, right? But with the Rengar, it may be a little bit difficult to go to the side lanes because you're never alone, right? You're never going for the 1v1 because Rengar is always able to be invincible and go in for the solo bait. The top laner probably will have to be very careful. The Yasuo has to be very careful. I think even Echo has to be careful, right? Every lane is not safe because when there's Rengar around, you have to play through the understanding of where he will be pathing, as well as he has the options of jumping for the bush. So no bushes are safe as well.
Yep, that's why your support for ITCE really must come into play here with that visions and those wards. But I want to see one of them, the supports, bring out the one of the support items that we don't regularly see. That warding item, the other one.
Oh, that one that gives the extra control wards, right?
Yeah.
But when you think of Rengar, right, no matter how many control wards you buy, does it matter because he has all this unique style of gank and he can just jump from a screen away. You're not even looking at the screen and he just jumps at you. I don't think it really matters much, but it's better you are able to shut down the Rengar early, right? So you're thinking of trying to track down his pathing early game, trying to prevent him from just taking over the camps, looking for his early invades as well. Those are the more important stuff you have to look at when you look at going against a Rengar. But just looking at the solo lanes themselves, I think it's pretty easy to know which is the better laner in terms of champions itself. When you think of Gwen versus Fiora, Gwen is favourite. When you think of Akali versus Echo, it might be an Echo favourite early game, but towards the late game, it is Akali favourite. And the bottom lane, without the Graggers that we wanted to see from the Yasuo combo, so I don't think ITCE has any priority lanes. It will be a difficult game, definitely, but if ITCE is able to come up with a unique strategy, as we mentioned earlier, they can definitely get an early lead. And they need the early lead because the later the game goes, the harder it gets for them.
I think it's just best that they play safe and wait for those ganks to arrive. Unless that Rengar, like you said, jumps out from nowhere and then just counter ganks you on that bottom lane or any lane that you're planning to gank.
So looking at the draft, who do you think will take it home for the first game of the day? Do you think it's ITC or do you think it's Nanyang Polytech?
Looking at the lane matchups, it really seems like a Nanyang Poly favorite. It really seems that they can win their lanes, but who knows, in those team fights, the Rakan knock-up into the Yasuo R can really be a threat.
Yeah, so you're looking at this super wombo combo coming in from the side of ITECE. They do have the Mega Gnar as well, right? So that actually helps to actually extend the combo duration. Then Mega Gnar ulti definitely gives you the knock-up as well that you need. So excited to see how they actually pull it off. But now we look at the draft. Where does the Gnar go? He's probably going to the top lane, right? But against the Gwen, right? You rather have the Fiora to go to the top lane. So a mid lane Gnar is probably the answer, but you don't really see mid lane Gnars, right?
You don't usually see those. So against the Akali, this should be an interesting matchup.
I mean, it's a very safe lane, right? I don't think the Akali is able to solo kill you, and I don't think the Gnar is able to do anything to the Akali because of how much clear pressure the Akali has in the mid lane. And in general, I just think that Gnar is too safe a pick, although he has good matchups, but it's generally not a very good champion in the current patch because there's so many strong champions. Like you see Lee Sin, you see Nocturne. I mean, they were banned but they are better champions. But I don't see ITC ever prioritizing them. So kind of seems that they're not comfortable with the champion yet, right? So the Na in the mid lane, definitely not what I wanted to see.
Yeah. So I think really Nanyang Poly with the Akali against the Na, I think the Akali should be able to get this early game advantage, push in the wave and then roam around the map, help your team whether there needs help.
Indeed. So ITCE, kind of like on the underdog side of this matchup, because Nanyang Polytechnic, the defending champions, they need to be able to try to bounce back because last week ITCE they lost to NUS. So going to week 2, if they lose to Nanyang Polytechnic again, they will be in the bottom of the group, and it'll be very difficult, right, for them to come up to the top of the group because when you think of it, it's only a single round robin in this group as well. So 6 games to play, and if they lose the first 2, they have to go on a 4-game winning streak to try and comfortably qualify for the top 8 of the tournament.
With that being said, let's go head on to the Rift as it's the start of the first game of Campus Legends.
Yes, and we talk about where the now will go. It seems that the now will actually still go to the top lane, so it'll be a Ignite Fiora in the mid lane.
Ooh, Ignite Fiora, that early game against Akali. With that Ignite, who do you think will win against in the middle?
I mean, the Ignite just gives you the extra solo kill threat, but I still think that the Akali is able just to control the lane just because of how aggressive Akali is in general against the Fiora, because Fiora really has to play around the vitals, and if Akali goes into the shout, it's very difficult to actually find the vitals and actually, look at where he is able to trade with the Akali. But now you look at the items itself, it seems that the Fiora forgot to buy a red pot.
Yeah, but I think you see the Rengar, he doesn't have the refillable pots. How do you think he will survive the jungle, or does he have that passive that heals him?
I thought the Rengar bought a control ward. He actually placed it, I think, onto the top red side of the jungle. So I think this is kind of a unique strategy, don't you think so?
Yeah, it could mean that, the opponent Echo, he could be planning for the Echo to be invading his jungle. So maybe I think that's why.
Yes, he wants to get the vision on the Echo, so he's able to know whether the Echo is coming to his top side, and that allows him to go for the bottom side invade. So it's very good idea coming in from South of Nanyang Polytechnic. ITEC going for the standard red leash for the Echo, so Echo will be pathing to the top side, and the Rengar will be pathing to the bottom side.
Yeah, and like you said, they should be playing to their top lanes, as that's their, I believe, the best player in IT College East. So that's why I think the pathing up to the top is interesting. And now some trades in the bottom lane seems interesting enough that the Yasuo passive actually saves him some of his HP.
Yeah, so the few hundred damage saved from the Ren. But we kind of talk about it in champions like about how Kalista itself just a very strong priority champion in terms of laning prowess. So look at the small trades here coming from NYP, just chunking them out half HP just before they even touch the crypts itself.
It's nothing you can do, and look at even to the mid lane. All their health is all nearly half at this point for the bot and mid. Forced to use the pots, I believe.
Oh my
Maybe
god.
even a solo queue down here.
Yeah, I think the Fiora wasn't really looking at his map or something because he just stood still while Kai chose a Q on him as well as an auto attack. I think this Fiora might get solo killed. He has to go for early recall if he doesn't want to get dived on.
Yeah, he has to play safe right here before the Akali goes in for a solo queue. Yes, he's forced to miss his minions. But I guess that is better than, losing your life.
Yes, indeed. But as a Fiora in general, you just want to be aggressive in the lane. Look at bottom lane, however.
And then you don't go for the kill. I guess playing safe is the better idea for the bottom lane.
Nanyang Polytechnic right now just looking to snowball the lead from the lane. Most lanes here have their own lead as well. Mid lane here is just kind of suffocating for the Fiora to play because he doesn't have teleport, so he needs to stay in lane or else he'll be losing out in terms of EXP. And on the side of the top lane as well, it is evenly matched. The Gwen is kind of shoving the Na. I never really see Gwen versus Na before. It's a very unique matchup.
Especially when, Gwen has that W to negate any CC that comes towards her.
Yeah, but when you think of Gwen and W, it's a very sabotagey kind of skill, right? Because if there's a teammate behind you and you use W on yourself,
I think this is a solo kill as Akali gets the first blood, first 400 gold, and not even a 1-for-1 trade.
That was just the mid laner of ITC not understanding how Akali works probably because he just took in a full trade and just lost his entire health bar with were trying to trade with Akali with the Shroud. So that was just...
Ooh, wait, hold on to your sights as bottom lane already gets a trade for the Akali and now looking for even more on that Leona. Possibly needs to land this knockup. Ooh, goes wide. Could have gotten a kill there.
So 1 kill onto the mid laner of Nanyang Polytechnic and 1 kill to the AD carry of ITE College East, the Yasuo. So this is the win condition, right? To talk about, we want to see how the Yasuo skills into the late game, because that's how ITE CE will probably try to look for the team comp, because it all revolves around the Yasuo. All these knockups, all this CC is for the Yasuo to pop up.
Yeah, but look into the jungle as there may be a CS gap of 10. You see, I think the Echo lost the 2 Scuttle Crabs. No one likes to get double scuttled there.
Yeah, losing the 2 Scuttle Crab is kind of big in terms of momentum, right? Yeah, we want to talk about how the Echo needs to get those early lead, because
Here come maybe a solo queue even. He doesn't have Ignite to finish it off, but the Gwen, gets a good trade because of the Ignite.
There was a very close kill, close fight coming in from both sides. Nanyang Polytechnic almost actually got the kill. The Gwen almost managed to land his snip onto the Gnar, and now almost managed to land his last auto attack that will actually kill the Gwen. So very close fight coming in the top side. This is actually a relatively more even match than what I expected.
Talking about the bottom lane fight just now, you can see that the Kalista actually burned both of her summoners.
There was a very lucky escape from the Fiora. But look at the Fiora now. He is 30 CS down and Akali's ulti up.
Yeah, you miss that W, you miss the parry, and then you just die on the tower against the execute. What is happening in the mid lane?
The Fiora is 35 CS down, 6 minutes into the game. This is very, very unnatural, but when you look at the score as well, 2-1, the mid laner is popping off.
Maybe it's time for the Akali to just go and buy the Dark Seal and start destroying the Fiora even in the lane.
Yeah, I think Huang Yeji should just go home right now. He should just probably get Dark Seal, stack it up, look for the early Magi. He might even look to chase the Echo in the jungle, so look at how aggressive this Akali is playing.
Yeah, and look at the top lane wave. If you can deny that much CS away from the Gwen, you should be able to get a pretty good lead.
So the first dragon goes over to the side of Nanyang Polytechnic. It is the Infernal Dragon, so there's a possibility of it being a cloud, mountain, or ocean. But look, the next dragon will be an ocean, so it looks going to be a cloud or mountain soul game. I think in general you just don't want the cloud soul, right? Because I think the cloud soul doesn't really do much for the side of NYP, probably just for the Rengar, because it allows the Rengar to go invincible more, uses ulti more to just impact the side lanes more. But the mountain soul is definitely the more preferred soul in this case.
And then you look at the bot lane, because your bot lane doesn't have prior, it allows that Rengar to just invade, and you may even have a dive here.
Yeah, so Rengar is hovering there. Rakan, please do not face check the bush.
Yeah, he doesn't even have the wards up to even know whether the Rengar is even at bot side. Well, look at top, the top gank is going very successful. A 1-for-1 trade maybe as Nara lives with a sliver of health. Now on the bot lane, the dive is coming on as the Rakan just goes down, and it's all down to the...
Ooh, the Yasuo gets a 1-for-1!
Yeah,
Will he look for the 2-for-1?
Maybe. But he forces the flash out, he goes for the flash, and the Kalista out pulls her back to save her from Yasuo's hands.
Oh, the Yasuo is popping off. We did not expect this AD Yasuo to come out in this game, but ITE CE is putting up one of their unique cards, the trap card probably of the series, and it is working out just that he is 40 CS down.
Now, despite being 40 CS down, he has 2 kills, and he already has that lifesteal item, which allows him to get those trades pretty easily, I believe.
Yeah, but it means that ITC we just have to play to the bottom side, right? Although Gwen is losing a little bit to the Na, but he's ahead CS, and look at your
solo kill again, under tower even. Doesn't even take a tower shot.
This is just mid gap, right?
Yeah.
You know those solo queue games where you walk into the game and like starts flaming your mid laner? This is just mid gap, right, in general, because Akali is like 60 CS up. 8 minutes into the game.
Now, maybe you could have picked a ranged champion against her, but I guess the Fiora could be a decent pick.
I mean, the VR definitely is able to play the lane, but it just depends on how you're able to understand the vital locations of on the Akali. But it just seems that as Velte as the mid laner, he's not really aware of how to play this matchup, because I think he's not used to playing against Akali. And this just shows in terms of how he's doing the lane trades, right? And it's not very favorable for the Fiora. And now this allows NYP to really just play through any side of the lane because the mid laner is always having priority in the mid lane. And when you look in general for the mid lane, it is where you want to have a decent matchup because whenever the mid lane roams, it creates so much pressure for the other side lanes to really fall back. And because the mid laner is able to just dive you on the turret with the jungle comes over and they set it up nicely for you. But ITC doesn't have the mid lane anymore because it is all under Huang Yeji.
It's pretty much a free mid now, and look at the item. The Akali now has her first mythic against everyone, so she basically can roam and get those free easy kills.
Now when you look at Akali as well, he doesn't have the Dark Seal. I thought we wanted to see him the Dark Seal early game because that's how he's able to snowball. Oh, he's caught by the Vision Ward.
Got by the Vision Ward, and then look, the trades coming in. He maybe even misses the stun, but it seems very favorable for Yang Poly. Maybe even dive, takes a few tower shots, but you know, no one really dies. Maybe a few forces the flash out of the Echo actually. So I guess it's sort of a favorable trade for the Nanyang Poly side.
Yes, and Akali is probably looking for another dive.
Yeah, he's now just pushing it off. Oh, Fiora. Maybe even just trading pretty well, but look at that damage coming off from Akali. Knowing her limits and knowing where she can play allows her to get that kill without taking too much damage from the tower.
And when you look at the Fiora item, she's actually rushing Tevice and solo kill here from the top laner. ITECE trying to fight back from the top lane, but this is a very difficult game in general.
You know, once you can't pin down that Akali, she's basically free to kill whoever she wants.
Now, when you look at this game itself, 11 minutes into the game, a 4,000 gold lead for NYP. Most of it through the mid laner, who is 4-0. Still doesn't have the Dark Seal, right? And we want to see the Magi, right? Because it allows Huang Yi just snowball his lead even further. But look at the Fiora. He is going for the Ninja Tabi against Akali. And there's a Gwen itself. She's a side laner also. So I don't think he knows what damage Akali does.
Yeah, especially with the changes to Akali's second E, that the amount of damage, you really cannot be able to contest that.
Yes, and it just kind of shows about how the lane itself is so important for ITC because if they fall behind too early, their team comp don't really do that well if they need to scale up too late. But if they're given the early game lead, they can definitely scale well because their comps are very bruiser heavy.
Yep. So, but I think, you know, ITCE has more CC compared to Nanyang Poly, so they may be able to lock down their Akali.
Yes, and look at Huang Yeji now. He is playing very aggressively. He's just standing in front of the river line and he's just not bothered about any jungle gangs coming because he knows he can escape. He knows he can probably solo kill the Fiora again. He's looking for the solo kill again.
Yeah, it's just disgusting how he can just dive you on the tower and your tower in mid is just now the easiest to destroy. So maybe the... Oh, but TP down to bot side. Maybe a 3-for-1. Oh, look, it's Huang Yeji going in. He gets the assist. Oh, and look, the Echo out forces... doesn't even save him from the Rengar.
And the Rengar just summons the Herald onto the bottom side. It will probably down the whole turret because the AD carry is there to shove it. So NYP here, first turret, 30 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and they may even get the mid tier 1 as well. And look, another solo kill. Jesus.
That is just unfortunate, right? You know, I always have this catchphrase. It's called unlucky. And when you think of this game, it's just unlucky that the mid lane is now 5-0 down, 13 minutes into the game.
Yeah, Akali is just a champion you don't want to be feeding in the early game. Same with Yasuo, but Akali brings it to a whole new level with that 5-0.
Yeah, so when you look at the game itself, mid turret falls down, bottom lane turret falls down. However, the top lane turret is still very healthy.
Yeah, the top lane is actually winning, I believe, in those trades compared to the Gwen right here.
And now wants to go for the solo kill.
Yeah.
He is trying to get his Mega now. Gwen.
He gets the Mega, now he needs to pop it soon. He gets it off, he gets that extra HP, but look at the amount of armor shred that Gwen can provide. Just slices your health down.
That Gwen played that matchup to perfection. Using the W just away from the Gnar, prevents stun coming from the Gnar, and gets the solo kill against the Gnar. So that was just very good coming from Broken. And NYP just looking to just snowball the game off from the laning prowess of all their laners itself, especially on Huang Yeji.
Yeah, but I need to commend their, their jungler. Every time their laner dies, he's always there to catch the wave.
Definitely true, I agree, but he is at least 40 CS down. It means that that's about 10 jungle camps down in terms of pressure. Now, top lane TPing into the top side, and as
Another solo
Velte,
kill. So Velte, what are you doing there?
I'm not sure what's going on in the mid lane. I think it's just having a bad day. Let's just put it there.
Maybe it's not even his champion. And look, I think that should be a solo kill as the backup from Kalista comes. The Zenith Blade misses the Echo.
Yeah, and then I'm still surprised you don't see the Dark Seal here, right? You want to see the Magi, early Magi for the Huang Yeji because he's just able to really pop off and get the free 125 AP that he needs, but he's still not getting it, so unlucky.
Yeah. And look, even from the early game, the Akali actually hasn't used those 2 red pots.
Yeah, I think just sell it and get the Dark Seal. Come on, do it for the guys on the crew.
Yep, that Dark Seal should be able to help the Akali a lot. I mean, you're going 6-0. How bad can that even help?
Right now, Kali at the top lane, he wants to dive this Gnar.
Yeah. But the Mega Gnar gets Chain Seed and you can't do much. You maybe get a 1-for-1. Ooh. But you know the Kalista outsaves the Leona once again. And while we're talking, the bottom lane and jungle are fighting.
What a flash!
You flashed into the guy's auto attack.
And look at Melee right now, Rengar onto Esvelte. No, Esvelte, you're not gonna die like this.
It's always like this, Maybe now then the Fiora realizes that Zavalte realizes, yeah, I have a parry, I could use that. Tried to negate some of the Rengar's damage.
This game is really just going a little bit out of control. More than 13,000 gold in favor of NYP, and they try to get bottom lane Gwen, but Gwen is just solo killing all of them.
Yeah, but I think she gets charmed. You should be able to get this kill, and Rakan's forced to use the flash, and look at that out usage. There's nothing you can do. That was an actually close one. And
yes, I think they're trying to speed run this game. 16 minutes, they're already hit it.
yeah. Ooh, that's a nice ulti from the side of Huang AG there.
So Nick, what do you think of the game?
I think you can bring this to reference to, a pro game like Fnatic versus Vitality, where one side is just getting stormed because of the jungle and their mid. It really feels like that.
I think that's a little bit too far-fetched, right? When you think of the level of the game itself. When Vitality is actually a practiced professional team, but this is a newcomers, right? They've never really compete in a professional game before yet. So it probably just the stage jitters, or probably just the competitive jitters that come to the players itself, not comfortable to it. Now you look at the game itself, it is 15,000 goal lead for NYP, 17 minutes into the game.
Yeah, 18-4, and maybe even a solo kill here again as she uses the parry early and should be able to secure the kill and get that big shutdown. It's a 1-for-1, but that shutdown really is much more favorable for ITC.
That was just unfortunate.
Oh, look at Rengar, nearly just delete your health and they get another shutdown. Zenith Blade goes in and they're LCC chained. What can you do? Oh, nice! Nice Gnar ulti there as everyone goes in, HP goes down, forced to go golden there. And the Echo is forced to go out. Mei goes in, but it falls to the hands of the Kalista there.
ITEC showing off a fight this game. 2 big shutdowns going over the side of ITE College East. One of them definitely went to the Yasuo, so that is very big for them. However, the lead is still 12,000 in favor of Nanyang Polytechnic. Still a very difficult game for them, for ITC to even claw back. They need more of these miracle fights.
Yup, and look, even the... Oh wow, that is actually smart. Using that teleport on that minion that's targeted allows that early...
Oh no, Esvelte!
Oh, but look, you just got kill stolen by your Kalista.
But does it really matter who takes the kills, right? Because there's no Dark Seal on the Akali, there's no Magi's on anyone else, so it doesn't matter who takes it. But, hold up. Akali actually has Moby Boots.
I think she wants to roam and get faster into the fights.
Yeah, probably, right? And now the game, 90 minutes the game, they're starting the hero in the mid lane, they are looking for the end.
Yup. There's no way ITC wins this. So, I think really ITC, their mid laner not playing a confirm. Ooh, they go in, the stun, the root, all everyone's getting CC'd. Now, actually, the Fiora gets the shutdown. Now 4v3. Everyone's health is going low for the side of Nanyang Poly. IT could actually contest this, but the Kalista's E pulls away your HP from that Gnar. That's a really bad trade, as your Fiora really doesn't play that mid lane well.
Delta just dashed in trying to save the third, but he dies by himself. It is the last defense from ITE CE.
Yeah, but no one's crying about the Gwen, as the Gwen is just cutting away the HP of the tower.
Yasuo falls down as well. Echo unable to do anything, and it is game over. Nanyang Polytechnic takes the game over IT Colleges.
Yeah. And then now Nanyang Poly puts themselves in a much safer place with that 2-0 win. And hopefully next week, they bring it 3-0 and have their safe spot.
Yeah, it feels like we didn't really see anything from Nanyang Polytechnic in general. Just a game of lane prowess, right? Just winning through the lane itself, not really having to show any of their team comps or any important draft or pick and bans that they have prepared for the tournament itself. So Nanyang Polytechnic really just dominating IT Colleges just from the laning itself. And even you see some memes like you see the Moby boots on Akali. Who builds the Moby boots on Akali, right?
Yeah.
So just IT Colleges just kind of gets destroyed through the laning process. However, I do commend IT Colleges because they did show up and try to get the game to stabilize a bit, but the lead was just too much for them to overcome.
Yeah, maybe it's because they are mid laner, maybe not playing a comfort champion. The Fiora is something you don't usually play in the mid lane, so maybe a comfort champion for the mid laner would do well.
Indeed, and I think it's just probably because he's maybe having a bad day, he's not performing, or maybe having some nervousness in his second game of the competition, not used to the competitive scene yet. So he has to really step up. If not, IT Colleges will not be able to qualify for the competition itself. They still have 4 games left, so it's still a long time to go, but he needs to really step up because that is just too big of a lead in the mid lane for the enemy.
Yep, they need to either win the next 3 games or they're basically gone.
Yes, they need to at least win the next game, right? Because if they don't start winning, then the chances of you qualifying for the top 8 will be even lesser. But for Nanyang Polytechnic, they are holding the first spot in Group B. So right now we'll be going for a break. And the next game coming up, it is NUS versus SUTD. Stay tuned.